when my fucking kid goes to roller derby, the kids change their roller derby names every fucking minute because they're all like trans autistic weirdos. And they're like, that name from last season doesn't suit me. And everyone just calls them whatever weird fucking pun they want to be this season. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's so easy. Is all society scalable to roller derby? No. Are there things we can do to ask, why do I have to continue to be like this? Why do you have to follow my name from one credit report to the next? Why do we have a legal name? Why do we have a legal gender? Who gives a fuck?
I was very excited to talk to a trans masc person who got pregnant. Like I think that's a goal of mine. It was really fun to like talk to someone who was like, yeah, I went off T, I got back on, I had my sweet little baby.
The cutest baby in the entire fucking world.
So cute.
Like, I would not lie about that. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not telling you your baby's cute if it's not cute, but actually one of the cutest babies I've ever seen in my entire life. So dead ass.
It's so cute.
You're kind of thinking about maybe trying to get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Where are you at right now, kind of in that little process?
So I feel like Cass was a little bit different because they were talking about going off T for like as short amount of time as possible. And so I went off T like a few months ago and just was already kind of thinking about like taking a break for a little bit of time. So my timeline will be more like a few years off of T probably before I try, or like 2 years off T.
Okay.
But it has been so crazy. Literally, the depression hit me like a damn bat in the face.
Really?
Well, it's not like constant, obviously, but it's like
the waves
of like estrogen dumps that happen when you're getting your period. It was a freaking dump. It was my birthday last week, but I just woke up being like, it's my birthday.
I don't feel a single thing.
I'm a husk. Yeah, totally. I'm just like, okay. And just kind of like tried to be outside in the sun.
Baby.
But it is like, it's like a learning curve. It's no joke.
You're feeling it. I feel like there have been these moments for the past few weeks where you're just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I must be getting sick or something. And then like next week you'll be like, it was the estrogen. Like,
it was the estrogen. It's trying to kill me.
I actually didn't know that you were trying to do maybe like a couple years. That's so interesting. I think what's so cool talking to Cass and like trans masc folks who've tried to get pregnant is like, there's all this like scary stuff out there that like tells you that like A, you can't, and like B, like, oh, it can be so dangerous, blah, 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 blah. But I love like the difference in that like Cass just did it for like a little bit and you're choosing to do it longer. But like, I'm curious, like what made you decide to kind of want to take that break for a little bit of a longer time?
Yeah, I was thinking about it and I just wanted to go a little bit slower. But this is all very like, it's just hard how under-researched any of this is.
Yeah, totally.
So it's not like I'm like basing this off of like something I read or something a doctor told me. Yeah,
right.
I was just like, I think I'm ready to like take a break. And I want to see what it would feel like to like be off of T for a while and see like, because I got all of the changes that I wanted from T. Like I got like a little bit more body hair. My voice changed. Like I was like, okay, cool. I think I'll feel fine. I never got the mustache of my dreams. I never got any facial hair. I'm like, okay, it's been 3.5 years. I think we just say that's enough.
See, I'm like, how do I write to the Trans Tooth Fairy and write like, I want exactly what Allie has, a baby smooth face, because that's why I don't want to go on T. I'm like, I cannot, this beautiful little face cannot be like tainted by shaving. And so I'm like, dear Trans Tooth Fairy, I want what Allie has, please and thank you.
Who's the Trans Tooth Fairy, do you think? Ellen? Janelle Monáe?
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Oh my God.
It's Zoran.
Exactly.
My name is Cass, or Dr. Cassius Adair.
Period.
Please do not use my whole formal title. Nobody does that. I'm an assistant professor in media studies at the New School. I occasionally make audio stuff, although like truly not a lot in the last year and a half since I have been dadding all the time. There are 2 children in my house. There are 2 cats. This is just a lot is going on. I live in Minneapolis. I work in my little office, write my little books and my little emails. I don't know. That's what I do.
A perfect life.
Life. I drive children back and forth in a Volvo station wagon. That is the majority of my activity.
Are you my dad?
I think I'm also my mom. Yeah. So whatever that is.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen that, like those like memes where it's like it's as if a woman and a man had a baby? It's like it's almost
So
as
funny.
if
It's almost as if.
So weird.
Could you describe your kind of own personal experience with gender? Maybe like just taking us through how you've come to kind of embody your current gender identity wherever you're at.
I don't know. It's so boring, y'all. I've been trans for so long. It's so uninteresting.
I'm not joking. This is the POV that we want because I also feel kind of like I've been talking about this and only this
Like
for so
forever.
long. I'm done.
Truly.
And I think that's really beautiful. I think that's like, oh, now we just get to have a full life. This is behind us.
Here's when it matters to me. I have to go to physical therapy for like postpartum shit because your feet are fucked up after you have a baby. And people are like, what? And I'm like, oh, now I have to explain that I had a baby in my body. Right. And that's why I have like the feet of like a 50-year-old person. And I need to like get that shit fixed so I can run after said baby. So there's like some shit I have to explain. But mostly it's so incredibly boring. I've been trans since 2009, so I'm of the Tumblr generation. I'm early Tumblr trans, which like, you know, is a whole thing. Like everybody I came out with is just so completely done. We're all gay and we all have beards and we just don't need to talk about it anymore. I feel like my hashtag journey is just like, what if you were on Tumblr in 2009? Like, I don't know what else to put there. Are there babies who listen to this? If so, imagine you're depressed and you're in college and then somebody is really hot and you're like, oh, that person is so hot. What's their deal? And you're like, oh, they're a transsexual. I didn't know that was like a thing you could be that was hot. And then everyone on Tumblr is like, yeah, it's so easy.
Oh my God.
All you have to do is move to a state where they have the thing you can do.
Yep.
And so that's why I went to PhD school. And I don't know, like, did my little shots in 2011, which is now a really long time ago. And like in trans generations, there's like many trans generations ago.
Yes.
Right? Like now the like 2020 COVID people feel like they're elders.
I was going to say more people are going to identify with this than you think should.
Exactly.
Right. That
and
is
it's just true. Yeah.
No, I am so old and so dumb and so boring. IDK. Like, I live in a house with 2 other, like, my partner and 2 other adults because we, like a collective house.
It's beautiful.
And my housemates are, like, I don't know, at different places in their hashtag journey. And I'm just like, wow, I feel like such a dad. I'm like, here's your first shot. Like, here's how you do it. Some of the shit that they teach you at the doctor is optional. Don't stress out if you don't have a fucking alcohol swab. You might get an infection, right? So it's like, I feel like I'm doing that in this part of my life. And it's like that plus teaching at a university plus being a literal dad. I feel like I'm just like constantly telling people some shit in a long, didactic and boring way. So please don't let me do that on this podcast.
Wait, so do you commute to like the New School? Like, do you like go in just like when you have to teach?
Yeah.
Basically?
So my first year there, I flew in once a week on a Delta Airlines flight. And I just finished paying off that credit card bill literally this month. Please, like, snaps from me.
Yes.
That was
so
wild.
funny.
It was very cool because the very sweet person who became our sperm donor lives in Brooklyn still. And so I got to combine my, like, cool pregnancy journey and my, like, mandatory flying to LGA every week. So some cool like ovulation math that had to happen for those two things to intersect. But then I was like, hello, I am going to have a literal baby. I cannot get on a flight all the time. Also, I know that half your classes are online. Why didn't you just tell me that before I spent all of my salary on flights? And so now I've just been begging them to give me online teaching as much as possible.
Oh, amazing.
The cool thing about that is I make a New York salary and I live in Minnesota.
Wow.
So that's why I can pay off
awesome.
the Delta Airlines credit card.
Yes, it all works out.
It all works out. So now I'm only
back.
I'm going to be negative $10,000 in daycare debt, and that's it, which rules. Because most people are way more than negative $10,000.
Way more than 10K.
Oh my God.
Getting ready to have a kid in LA. Like friends have told me what daycare costs or preschool, and you're like, oh.
No, it's truly like this country hates children. You're about to find out.
Yeah.
Hates them. Extremely hates them. Has all the ideology of loving children. It's all a lie. If they love children, I would not be paying my mortgage to send her to like fancy gym.
Yes.
Right.
Like I love that she gets to go to fancy gym. She loves fancy gym. It is economically, I am paying more than I'm making for her to go to school so that I can teach.
This is my issue. I live around the corner from a Planned Parenthood, and there's like churches that just love to park there with like the craziest signs.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, it was like, oh God, never mind. I don't even want to repeat it. It's like actually so like depraved.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I would love to try to have a conversation with them about social services. Like, I'm like, I bet you bitches are like so financially conservative yet pro-life. So what, you know, this is an impossible equation.
No, it doesn't. It truly makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's just we live in a country that like that plus the climate change situation, you're like, oh, we actually want to kill our kids all the time. Like, that's all I got. So
I think we just literally live in a corporation. So they're like, we need more workers and we need to pay you as little as possible.
Well, can someone, as someone who doesn't know anything, like how much does daycare cost? Like, could you guys...
I get billed every 2 weeks. I think it's $988 every 2 weeks.
For how many days a week?
5 days a week, like 7:30 to 5. Actually, although I do not take her at 7:30 unless she wakes up at fucking 5. No, it is like that is sweet.
Yeah.
And like in terms of, I'm pretty sure it's like market rate for like our area in terms of like the fanciness level. I feel like we have like we're paying like medium fancy prices for very fancy care because it's like you can only go there if you are an employee of the University of Minnesota, which my partner is.
Gotcha.
So it's not like his work pays for it. It's like we get to be on the list for the fancy school.
And that's like the privilege is like being on the list. That's
being
crazy.
on the list to pay them. That's $2K. Yeah. So it's like, it's functionally $2K a month. And our mortgage is also functionally that.
Allie, how does that compare to LA?
My friends here in LA are paying $35,000 a year.
That is crazy.
And it works out still to be worth it because they can make more than that at their job. So they're like, yeah, we work full time and we just pay for daycare. And my partner also works at a university, so she could get us on that list.
Yes.
Which is huge.
Which
It'll just be $15K a year. And I'm like,
oh my God.
That's money. That's subsidy. Yeah, because we're not, we're paying more than that. I mean, it's like, the thing that I love her school so much. Like my kid, we figured out when she was 6 months old that she has like a very, very scary dairy allergy. Like not just like gets hives, but like she'll go into shock. Like it's actually like full on, like she'll turn gray. Like it's really scary.
Whoa.
And it took a while to figure out like what was going on because like it doesn't happen right when she eats stuff. It's like hours later and you're like, what the fuck is going on? You were just so happy and now you're like, you look like you're gonna die. So it's like super terrifying.
Oh my God.
So we were like, okay, like how do you like keep kids who have special needs, like medical, whatever, medical, mental, whatever it is, included. And they have like so many ways that they're helping her. Like every time the other kids have dairy, she gets to sit in a special seat that's like, so she can't like go and put her little fingers in their cottage cheese. But she still gets to be at the table. They just have one like which is like slightly away from them. So she gets to see her friends and also like she can't eat their food. They made her a vegan flatbread the other day. And I was like, someone just made my child a special vegan flatbread.
That's really sweet.
Oh my God.
And like, it's not like she's like, she's 14 months old. She's just picking it up and then like putting it on her face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like makeup for her.
Oh my God. Marinara makeup.
It's just marinara makeup.
She's beating her face with the flatbread.
Truly, yeah. Welcome to my child's TikTok channel. Get ready with me. I'm Aster. But yeah, she's like, anyway, so I was just like, that rules. Like, she's super physical. Like, she's really strong and kind of like, I'm a little bit like, what is your whole deal? Like, you can't really sit still. Like, that's fine. I'm like that. But also, is that going to be a problem in like 6th grade? Anyway, when she started to like really need to climb up stuff, they were like, you know what? Rather than tell her, no, you can't climb on the kitchen table or like you cannot like climb on top of other babies, we're going to like go into the supply closet and we're going to find some shit for you to climb. And they put it in
That's
the
amazing.
So I was like, okay, these people see her and love her and honor her. Which, like, in what school at any age does that happen?
Yeah,
Totally.
I'm like, do y'all ever think of just like the shit that was like considered normal when we were growing up? Like, it was all just like shame. It's like, that's bad. Don't do that. Because I was also super handsy, super strong, which like can be a problem. My issue was like I was handsy with other kids, like play fighting, but like I was like 5'10" in like kindergarten. Like, so like I would like accidentally like push a kid or like not realize it. It's like, you know, so much of the messaging was just like, that is bad. You're aggressive. That's bad. It's just like, oh no, babe, you have ADHD. You just need to go into the closet and climb. Just like scutter up the walls. Just like, you know, that type of shit. So I love that for her. I love
that for her. It's like they truly are just like, what did they say? They said Astor needs some more yes spaces.
Oh my God,
and
my
that's what
heart
you're paying
is
for.
singing.
And that's what you're paying for. That's beautiful.
That's what no, truly, I'm like, she is safer at school than our house because they have like shit she can climb, and at our house it's just the staircase, and me just like every time it's suspiciously quiet in my living room, I'm like, my baby is halfway up the stairs. Like, that's what's going on. So I'm in love with her school, I'm in love with her classmates, she's in love with her classmate. Like, that is a good situation. Like, I feel very happy about that. Like, that's where she is right now, and they have a little app where I can see every time she pees on my phone.
Oh my God.
I mean, not visually, I don't see the pee.
Yeah. No, but I'm like, that level of updating.
Yeah.
The future is now. That's
baby
crazy.
surveillance is occurring.
Yeah. I've been talking to so many like Montessori teachers and stuff, and I have a few friends who are trans as well and teach and do stuff like that. And I'm just like, can we start the like collective small backyard school already? Like, that's the big dream.
They're doing that upstate. So everyone's doing that in like upstate New York. Like all
I so believe that.
New York. My friend's a Montessori's teacher in Bovina Center, which is like Catskills area. Totally. And she like literally her entire baby class are just like these former like Brooklyn like yuppies who just like moved all the way up. Because it's like, you know, people who can afford to do that also. Yeah. And so like they moved up to New York, and I'm like, it is amazing. There's a sheep named Penny. They like go and like pet Penny. It's like, I'm like, no, like this is fabulous. Like, I'm just like,
fabulous.
This is amazing. Like, people are doing that. And I'm just like, ugh. I get
know.
it.
I have so many feelings though. So here's where I'm going to get into it, because I'm from the South, and I have a feeling that white people from the South invented sending your children to fake school because they're racist. And so I have this like really strong feeling that I should not send my child to fake school, because
fake school is so funny.
in the generation above me, right? Like, that's called a segregation academy.
Wow.
Not
Montessori.
That, like, not that like, I mean, like, these are different genealogies of educational philosophy, right? My older kid goes to like a Montessori public school, which like is not like all white people having feelings, which is cool. Like, I actually like that they're like integrated into the larger community. But I am kind of like, I want my kid to go to like the normal ass public school, because ideologically, like, I like so strongly got the message growing up that like the people who send their kids to schools that are not the normal public school are like doing it because they love the Confederacy.
Interesting.
That's like my like, I know it's like in the North it's actually very different. Like, the public,
it is different, but that's interesting. Yeah,
conversation is different. But I feel like the history of schooling where I grew up is like, there's like the school, and then there's like the white people school, and they are fucking next to each other. And it's like, you know why? It's not like one's more convenient for anyone, right? Like, you know why they exist. Tangentially to each other. So I'm kind of like, unless my kid is like literally cannot cope, like has like some kind of like like need that cannot be met in the public school, I'm like, we'll send you to fucking like Latin club outside of school if you need more enrichment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, totally. The clubs are out there.
Yeah, like it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I'll just do math with Dungeons and Dragons after school. Like, we will be okay. I don't
Literally
know.
can't wait for that moment.
Like, hit me up in 5 years, when my kid is like, I'm actually so neurodivergent and I like cannot be in kindergarten. Like, cool. Like come
Right.
and play
Then
me
we
this
can
tape,
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, but have it be based off the kid that you have.
Yeah.
And not
Yes.
based off of you and your priorities and being like, I'm the type of person who sends my kid to the best private school that there is or something.
Yeah. And again, it's like no shame because like I know this is so different, like regional to region, family to family and stuff like that. But like I'm a little bit just like, the value add of my kid being in the mix
It's so important, I think.
feels really important. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And my kid's gonna learn really good swears too, which like feels really important.
I think about this a lot. I went to private school like my entire life and like literally K through 12. I went to private school and I've been trying and like I think I had a lot of anger with my parents because I'm just like, babe, I could have gone to public school. Like, I mean, beyond the gratitude. First I feel gratitude and I feel some anger. I'm just like, I could have gone to public school and been fine. But I think like, they were living in Oakland in like the 90s. Like there was like some real anxiety. Like all my cousins went to public school, like didn't have like a great time. And like, I think the frustration now is like, oh, we are in like so much debt because you have been paying college for like 16 years. But it's such a tough thing because like I had some friends over for dinner like a couple weeks ago and they all went to public school. And like, I was like, what was public school like? Like, we were just like talking about it. They're like, what was public school like? And they were all honestly kind of like, public school's a little scary. Like, that was kind of like the takeaway. They're like, public school's a little scary. And then I would tell them like the things that I would do like in private school, like the fact like that in 5th grade, I did a tap dance in front of the entire school because I really just like needed to like express myself and like just all of these things. And they were like, it's really good you didn't go to public school with that. Like, that would have been really tough for you.
You would have been eaten alive.
They were like, it's really good that you were able to express yourself. And now my mom is like a substitute in the public schools. And she's like, oh, you could have gone to public school. I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit. I could have gone to public school. So it's such a tough thing of like what your child needs. But then it is so much about like just your parents' feelings. Like my parents, like, I think just also wanted to be people who sent their kids to private school. Because like school is like upward mobility in a lot of ways. And like they
my
both
parents
like
were definitely like the first generation that could send someone to private school. So I went through 1st through 5th because my grandpa paid for it. And then transferred to public school. So that was a rude awakening.
That's a shock. That
was a shock to the system.
That's so interesting because I went to like magnet schools, so it was all like public system.
It's kind of the best of both worlds.
It was like, my parents got to be like good Democrats and like good white people, but also I got to go to like do like fucking Latin in the 6th grade, right? So like that's cool. But also like I kept being like gifted and then not gifted anymore for a variety of reasons. And I'm kind of like, I think I just had depression. But like,
so funny.
So like I went from like my like all gifted middle school where everyone was just like writing fan fiction, right? And then I went to like regular high school and I was like, what is happening? Like everyone wants to talk about sex.
Yeah.
And like I don't know about that actually. Like I'm so unsure what that is.
You're like, Mom, pick me up, please. Like,
yeah, truly. I said, I also I think that really helped me kind of be like, oh, it turns out that this ideology of like the gifted school is for smart people and the not gifted school is for dumb people is a lie. Like that isn't true.
Yes.
Like there's smart and dumb people everywhere and smart and dumb are fake. So that was like a cool thing to learn. And like then I also was like, I'm making the choice to like go back and to like do the magnet thing again in the 10th grade because I was like, oh, I feel just like kind of bored. Like it's not that like I am like better than anyone or like I have this like entitlement to be in like a fancy program.
It's like I'm not stimulated. I'm gonna like not do anything.
No,
like, I'm gonna like I'm gonna dissociate.
Yeah, no, I was like making a game of like how many minutes I could leave every class on purpose. Like if you sign me out to the bathroom, can I make it to Taco Bell? Right? Like that. Like that's the kind of shit where I was like, okay, I actually just like feel like my skin is on fire because I have nothing to do.
Totally.
And that's like my own dealie, and I want to go and like I don't know, like memorize Shakespeare or whatever the fuck, because it's like more interesting. So I don't know. I feel like I talk a big game about like private school is good, but also like I do feel like the experience of being like bored and understimulated is really negative, and like I just really needed to be in fucking like karate or something from when I was 3, and nobody knew that. That's like I'm putting my child in fucking sports. I'm like, you need to be in a sport.
Oh,
That's what my parents did. I was in karate too. My ass was in karate like every fucking day because they're like, we're gonna tire this kid out.
I would eat, sleep, and breathe karate. I was so into karate.
That is very good news. My parents were like, we don't have money to send you to fucking karate.
Yeah.
And we work on Saturday, and all of karate is on Saturday, so you don't get to do karate.
So funny.
Okay, I want to ask you hyper-specific questions about how you got pregnant, so feel free to be like, I don't want to answer that. I don't want to go through that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, go for it.
Because I have been on T for a while. I just stopped recently. I think sometime in the next like year or 2, I would also like to try to get pregnant. So I'm really curious about
So exciting.
like, when did you go off T? Did you go right back on afterwards? Like, how did that feel for you?
Sure, yeah. I love talking about this part. It is so easy, and your doctor will lie to you. My partner had gotten pregnant before, and he's just like also a boring trans guy, you know? So like, I kind of knew that I had like a possibility model who also lives in my house, which is pretty cool. But like, I went off T for 3 months. I had one normal period, one fucking weird fucked up period where I was like, oh no, I'm broken. And then it immediately fixed itself for no reason. And then I got pregnant after that. So it was like very... like
one crazy period I've read so much about. I'm like so afraid for that to hit. I keep being like water like in Jurassic Park is like moving, and I'm like, it's happening.
No, because okay, so let me just get right into this. If my students find this, God help me. But, so I like hadn't had a period since I knew about Diva Cups, right? Like, like it was like the past, and so I didn't know about Diva Cups, and I was like 19 or 20, right? And then I like started having periods again, and I was like, oh, this is so cool because I don't have to like look at this whole situation. Like I don't have to change this thing or carry anything around with me. It's just like morning, night, got it, good. And then the wild period happened where I was like, this isn't enough. There's a whole cup, and it's just it overflowing.
And it's still
Is there a Diva Big Gulp?
Yeah. No, literally.
Truly. And I was like, I have never experienced anything like this. This is not my experience of blood. This is not what I remember from 2003. The George W. Bush administration did not prime me for this experience.
Just like a lot of blood. Is that like the vibe?
It's a lot. Like it was a long time between cycles, which like it was too long, and then there was a lot of blood, and I was really just like, oh no, like because if you don't have periods for 11 years, you're
God.
like,
no, you literally forget.
You literally forget. You're like, what is supposed to happen? And you're also like, I have no data. Like your period is also data that shit's working, right? So like, you know, if you have PCOS, you have weird periods, right? So there's things that give you information about your reproductive system when you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's been 28 days. I feel very sad, but at least I know shit's working in there, right? But when you don't have that data, you don't know what's working.
Yeah.
So before I had gone off T, I went to a reproductive endocrinologist.
I have that next Friday.
Yeah. I loved going to the reproductive endo. This was in Charlottesville, Virginia. I don't think I had a single good doctor in Charlottesville, Virginia, except for the reproductive endo at the like women's healthcare clinic. And all the like people in the lobby were like, why are you here? And then I was like, I'm going to have a terrible time. I just need to go through this. And then she was like, pulled out like fucking PubMed and was looking through like scientific papers and is like, well, here's what the data suggests about transmasculine fertility. Here's like the most recent thing that I found. And I was like, you fucking went on JSTOR for me?
Right.
Like,
That's so sweet.
Love language unlocked.
It was so cool. And then she was like, well, let's just count your like ovarian follicles. Like, cool. And she just like counted. And she was like, actually, I'm going to stop counting now because you're so far into the like bell curve that like there's no point in me even like finding out how many you have because you're fine.
Wow.
Like you have so many follicles. And I was like, oh, I'm like so fertile. Like, like no one's ever given me that compliment before. So I knew going in that like I didn't have at least a physiological reason. Like I didn't have a low egg supply. That was really cool because my whole deal was like, I don't want to go off T and just suffer, right? Like if I'm going to do this, I want to have a chance of it working. And then, you know, that was before I had my partner at the time was like not that interested in parenting, and like now I think he is actually, like he's just in a different part of his life, but at the time he was like really not into it. I was just starting to see my partner now. He was like super into it, but also was like, you know, we started dating like a minute ago, like why are you going to the endocrinologist? You know, so like it took a while for us to be in a place where I could actually do it. And also, like, that was 2019 when I saw that doctor, right? And so, like, world historically, we know it was a very hard time to have a baby immediately after that. People did it. Could not be me, right? And we, like, survived our kindergartner doing kindergarten on Google Meet. Then we, like, bought a house. Then I got a job. And then I was like, okay, now is the time.
Totally.
And then went off to, like, they say to wait 3 months, and I think that's just to establish like a normal cycle and for your estrogen and progesterone levels to kind of like feel like they're in the normal range. I bet you could do some kind of study and actually come up with like a real number instead of a fakey fake number, which is 3 months.
Totally.
And then, yeah, I got really, really lucky. I got pregnant the first month that I tried.
Nice.
And in part, that's because I was really religious about like peeing on a stick. And like,
I was gonna ask, did you use like Anito or one of those like readers?
Yeah,
like,
so
okay,
I just
that's
got
cool.
the cheap, like you can buy on the internet like a bazillion little strips.
What is this? What's
So
the strip?
this is ovulation testing. This is testing your
Gotcha.
basically like the amount of hormone that's in your body when you're about to ovulate. It's almost like a pregnancy test where it has a line if it's positive, but you can see the ovulation line if obviously that hormone is present. You can also take your temperature, and your temperature is going to be slightly different right before you ovulate. The books that teach you how to do this are for lesbians. So you read some pretty cool lesbian books that also tell you about herbs and spirits. But the lesbians are also, they are right about bodies.
As it turns out.
Yeah, it's true. Like our bodies ourselves content, but like it is like it's very good to like learn about, because I was like, I never knew, like no one teaches you in seventh grade PE when you learn what a period is.
No.
How ovulation works. And you're like, oh, you actually can figure out when you're most fertile. And also you could use this to help you not get pregnant, but nobody tells you that either, right?
Yeah, because when we were doing the calculations for my partner, you even in the tiny, tiny window of peak ovulation, your chances are 35%.
Yep.
I'm like, in high school, they were like, if you have sex, you
If
get
you
pregnant
look at
on
a
the
dick,
spot.
you're gonna get
I'm
pregnant.
Like,
Yeah.
it's actually so hard.
It's actually kind of hard to
there's
get
a
pregnant.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really true. And so like I like have my little charts where I like mathed out my shit for months and months and months. And like I like kind of freaked out, and I was like, I'm going to go on spring break and I'm not going to have a chance this month. And like I'm supposed to ovulate really soon. So I did one that I was like early. And then it turned out I just like done the math wrong, and I was like, oh, I actually ovulated after spring break. So I came back to New York and I was like, now's the time, baby. And I texted my friend from college, and he was like, all right, I'm ready when you are. So like, yeah, it was really like, I mean, like he's a super sweetheart. His mom like sends Aster like Christmas presents and birthday presents, and like loves
so
her,
cute.
which is really sweet. Like,
What a dream.
so yeah, we had like lots of conversations about that. But like in terms of the physical stuff, like I had the easiest time of anyone I know, trans or cis. Like I'm just like so on the train for like, it is so possible to get pregnant. I was on T for 11 years. I stopped for a very brief period of time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I think I went back on 4 or 5 weeks after. I had a pretty like hard birth, and I wasn't ready to like, frankly, like I wasn't ready to fuck with needles. Like I had so much medical intervention, so much more than I had planned on or wanted. And I was like, I actually can't imagine like injecting myself with anything, like doing anything to my body for a long time. I kind of was like, I don't feel like having a new physical experience. I just had a really extreme physical experience. I need to keep myself kind of like static for a while. And my doc was like, you're supposed to wait 6 weeks. And my midwife was like, that's what they have to say because the postpartum period, like in the medical journal, is 6 weeks, but like technically there's no science. You do what you want. And so I was just like, I feel ready at 4, and I just started again at 4.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's all fake. Do what you want. Follow the lesbian spirit guide because
Yeah.
like,
Wait, what are these books? What are they?
Oh, I think it's just called like the lesbian guide to pregnancy and birth or something like that. And then there's also like there's a new book that's called Queer Conception. This is more gender inclusive, but it is shorter. There's like less magic in that one. It's a little more up to date. But it's gonna tell you the same shit about like how to track ovulation and stuff like that.
Wow. That is so cool.
All my friends on hormones are like, they need a PhD in chemistry because the way they're just mixing and matching shit based off of vibes.
That's so
you
funny.
know, it's like we all need PhDs in chemistry. You know,
Dexter's
I love
Lab.
it. Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite figures from trans history like got a master's degree in pharmacy so she could write her own estrogen prescription.
Exactly.
And I think that's so cool.
That's so cool. Okay, so on the other side of parenting, I'm super curious about how you talk to your kid about gender. Did you have a moment where you were like, we're going to say this kid is non-binary until whatever? Or like, what are those kind of conversations like? Or what does she think of your gender?
Yeah, I mean, Aster calls me dada and calls my partner dada and calls most adults dada and calls large animals dada. So a big animal is dada and a little animal is baby. So like those are two categories of human are baby and dada.
Those are the two genders. Yeah,
exactly.
They're right. There are only two.
There are only two. Like she keeps calling our older kid dada, and Kit is like, I'm 10 and I'm not your dada. And Aster just smiles and says, dada.
I'm just like,
dada.
Oh my God.
Sorry about it.
Yeah. So like, you know, in a couple of months, Aster's going to learn that not everyone is dada, but right now it's like extremely fine. And she doesn't differentiate in tone of voice between me and my partner either. Like for a while, we're like, one of us is dada and one of us is daddy. And it just like never happened. So we're like, who cares? She just yells and both of us respond. So that's how language works. Like it's semiotics, you know?
Yeah, right.
And then... Thank you for that academic nerd joke.
That was a good joke.
Thank you so much. I wish instead of laughing, people would just say, that was a good joke to me.
That was a good joke. Just deadpan. That was a good joke.
When she was in utero, we used they for her. We did find out her like sex or whatever on the ultrasound. I think just in case we had to learn about penises, we were like, we should know if we need to learn about them.
We do have to learn about that.
Oh yeah, right. And then we were like, we wanted to like have a time to like look at some pictures of what baby penises were about.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, we don't have to do that. Cool.
Yeah.
And then it was just like a couple days before she was born. Actually, my partner was like, I kind of want to start like thinking about her as like a person. And the they is kind of like this generic, like for the fetus, for, you know, and was like, what if we like just use, because we were kind of like also going like he and she for a while, like whatever was kind of popping up. And we didn't want anybody else to know that we knew the sex. So we were just like, we would tell our families that we like didn't know, or like tell strangers we didn't know, we didn't want to find out, because we're like, we just don't want them to send us a bunch of like pink or blue shit. Like it's so annoying. Right. And I think he and I are both of the sort of like philosophy that like they is also a gender and a choice and not actually a generic. Like it is a political and social intervention to use they. It's not just like everybody is they until otherwise, because like if that were true, then I would be a they, right? It's like everybody has some kind of agency in gender, and everybody has a sex assigned at birth, and like dealing with that is just part of it, right?
Yeah.
And so we are kind of like, we're not going to actually hashtag undo gender if we use they for this baby. Like this baby is also surrounded by trans people and is never going to be confused about like gender assigned at birth not being the same as the gender you get to have. So like, we're just like, let's just like not make every single visit with a doctor a fight. Let's not make every single new person a fight. Yeah. Let's also let this baby have the experience of being like, that's what they called me when I was born. And now I want to be something different, which is identical to if we called her they. And then she was like, oh, that's what they called me when I was born. And now I want to do something different. So like,
totally.
We're kind of like, whatever. I mean, it is kind of irritating because I know at school, they sometimes will be like, oh my God, she's such a strong girl. She's such a smart girl. And I'm like, yep. She is strong and smart. I also just don't use those phrases at home.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
So she's getting that. And, you know, because they like make her vegan flatbread, I'm like, great. Like, you know.
A lot can be restored with one vegan flatbread.
I'm like, your needs are so met. You're so loved. And no matter what we call you, you're going to get gendered in the world. Also, most people who see her just call her he because she's a baby and she doesn't have a lot of hair.
Right.
And like, we dress her in like, I don't know, primary colors. And she like climbs up a fucking mountain, and they're like, that must be a he baby. And I'm like, well, that's sexism. Here we are. Like, so my baby is going to get, like, it's going to happen like, no matter what we say. Right. So yeah, we made that choice. I mean, we know parents of trans kids or like, you know, trans parents and parents of trans kids who have made all sorts of different choices around that. And I think both of us are like, you know, people are going to put some words on her. We can put some arbitrary words on her. When she's old enough to talk, she'll tell us some other words. She would do that no matter what pronoun we used in fucking 2025.
Yeah. That's awesome. So we are having a kid. We found out it's a boy. Great. There's something that is coming up for me that I'm like so primed to feel really misunderstood in the whole like parenting experience. And I was like, oh, I think it's just family. I feel so much relief being out of my family structure and being able to be myself, that there's almost this feeling like I'm being pushed back into a structure where I have to meet other parents, other kids, what are their opinions of my kids' parent. You know, like, have you found that to be true, or do you feel like you have a way of insulating yourself?
Oh no, I mean, it's like having to be around straight parents is mandatory and annoying. And like, I don't think there's a way around that. Like, Aster's bestie at school, right, has a mom and a dad. And I was like, how do I ask a straight lady if our kids can play together? Like, I actually don't know. Like, is it weird if a man asks a lady for a play date? Like, I don't know the rules about this.
Totally.
And like, you know, I saw her at pickup, and our kids both were like, oh my gosh, yay, parents, and like hanging out together. And I was like, hey, like, should I give you my number? Is that how we do it? Like, I feel like a middle schooler, because it's been so long since I've like dealt with this particular question. And like, it's also true that just like parenting style wise, like, we don't live in a like super bougie area. And so there isn't the same level of like, your child is like not having like organic, I don't know, applesauce or whatever that there is in some places. But there is still a little bit of like, I'm at the playground, I look like a fucking 15-year-old boy. My kid is running around in her diaper, and like, she just like eats the sand, you know? And I'm like, it's fine. Like, I don't care, you know? But I think just like being a man, people assume you don't know what you're doing.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Like, looking younger or shorter, people assume you don't know what you're doing.
Whoa.
So there's a little, and also the sort of like style of parenting where I'm like, unless she's literally going to die, like, she can try it. And I do think like white, straight Minnesotans like just kind of look at you like, that's a choice that you're making. Okay. You know, and I'm like, I feel completely safe with my child bear crawling with her little ass in the air down this hill. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? She's going to roll down and she'll probably giggle. It's okay. Yeah. You know, I think that like, I feel more stress around like a certain type of like classed style of parenting, in terms of like, oh, these children are all definitely going to start playing the flute when they're 3. Like, that vibe, I kind of can sniff that out. I like grew up around a lot of those parents. And so that kind of like is like a class thing for me, where I'm like, oh, I can tell that like these kids aren't growing up with roommates in the house, or like, you know, these kids are growing up where like, I don't know, they have like a big backyard instead of like a tiny little alley with like, you know, some amount of trash in it, right? Like, I don't know. So I think like when I really get down to it, I'm like, there's more for me stress around like class and the sort of like performance of respectability as a parent. Like, I think I would feel that way about like gay or like queer parents who also were like on the flute lessons train in their parenting style. Not that I'm not trying to get my baby to gymnastics, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a certain type of like propriety. And we also are super lucky in that like we have a really close family friend who actually like used to be housemates with my partner, and they're also like a blended family with an older kid and a baby. Ooh. And their older kid is like 6 months younger than ours, and then their baby is 6 months younger than ours. And it's just like, and everybody has a million dads, and everybody has 2 houses, and like, you know, and so like I feel like such kinship with them, and like it's so fun to have play dates with people where I'm like, oh my God, we all have stupid tattoos. Like, that rules. You know,
Totally.
instead of being like, oh, that person is wearing like a fucking like polo shirt and I don't know how to talk to him.
Totally. We're going to have to talk about stocks? Question mark?
Right. No. Truly. Or like, just like, I don't know, like at the daycare, right? Like everybody's university affiliated. So everybody is like a little bit stressed about like, well, we have our grant or well, we have our job or whatever.
Oh.
And my family is like, oh, we're like trans and we like signed some pro-Palestine petitions in 2003. Like, are we actually so fucked?
Right.
Whereas what I hear in the hallways from the other parents is more like, well, you know, like our grant is like in trouble, but like we think there's going to be some stopgap funding and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh, right, you work in like fucking like med research. So like that's scary because you don't have your overhead. Like whatever that like 14% of your budget is going to have to come from some other pot of money. But that's different from like, oh, you're like on a list.
Am I going to be carted away?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So like,
So fucking
a
scary.
lot of people are worried about different shit than we're worried about. And I can just hear that and see that in the hallway. So I'm like, how would I have a conversation about this? Like, we're on the like, do we flee the country train? And you're on the like, can I hire another research assistant train?
Right.
Different trains.
Different concerns. Did you always know that you wanted to have kids?
I think that when I was younger, I've always been like the dad friend in like a silly way. Like, I truly did have a Volvo station wagon also as a teenager. And my parents were like, we will pay for the gas if you drive your little siblings around. And I kind of took that to mean like your job as a person is to like take care of everyone so that you can have this car. And the point of having a car is so that you can fill it up with friends who need to go like home from rowing practice or whatever. So like I was always like, had that kind of energy, I think. Or like an anecdote about me in college is that I was always the designated driver because I was like, I don't know how to drink alcohol. I don't know how to be fun, but I do know how to drive people to the party and then scowl until they want to leave. And like, that was like, so I was like always someone's dad in the parking lot, you know, like just like waiting for the party to be over. Basically, like until I became queer, I was like, my job is to protect everyone and make sure they get home safely. And so I think like there is sort of a sensibility where I felt like I'm, you know, # oldest daughter and like just had a sense of like caretaking, I guess. And then I was like, well, now my job is to like get a PhD and transition and like go to therapy. And so I kind of didn't think about it for a really long time. And then when I was 28, my body was like, hello, your job is now to listen to podcasts about parenting and weep. And I like did, it was like so confusing. It felt so embodied. I was like, oh,
wow.
Like, it turns out biological clock is real for some people.
Interesting.
Like, I was like, this is sexist ideology. And also it feels true in my body, right?
Wow.
In the same way
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, like people transition for all sorts of dumbass reasons, but also sometimes it just feels true in your body. And I kind of felt that way about making a baby where I was like, oh, like I haven't felt a sense of like, I think I called it like non-cognitive understanding, right? It's like, oh, it's like, it feels like obvious to me that this is something I need to do. The thought of not being allowed to do this or not being physically capable of doing this makes me so sad to contemplate. And then like hypothetical grief is what's telling me that it's what I want.
Interesting.
You know, it's hard to say I want a baby when you're like a 28-year-old dude. But it's easy to feel, oh, if somebody said, hey, in order to, you know, change your gender marker, you'd have to get a hysterectomy. How would that make you feel? And I'd be like, oh, that would make me feel incredibly bad. Like a sense of like real like tragedy as opposed to just like inconvenience. Like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I was like, I kind of need to go to the doctor to see if this is possible so that I can like intentionally try to shut down this part of my brain if it's not possible.
Wow.
Because it is,
Okay.
it got like distracting that my body was like, hey, think about this, think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it, which is not that different from like scrolling through Tumblr and being like, what if you're a boy? 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 And I was like, I know this feeling. I know this kind of intrusive thought. It means you need to follow this feeling or else it's not going to get quieter. It's going to get louder and louder. So,
wow.
I just had like a biological fucking thing happen to me when I was 28 years old. And then I had a baby when I was 34.
Wow.
I've never heard anybody say that, but I love that answer because I think
I'm so in my head about it where I'm just like, it's the right thing to do. It's the wrong thing to do. It's so unethical. It's yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I love how you just described like, just like this like bodily knowing and just like needing to kind of, just like pursue it and see like what happens type of thing.
Yeah, I think that it's not logical. It makes no sense to have a child, actually.
In America?
In this economy?
In this economy? A son in America?
No,
I need to shut this down.
No,
Right.
it's really doesn't make any sense. And I think that like a lot of things we do don't make any sense. And I think it's like useful to like allow for the category of like a non-logical decision. Because if we all had to justify our reproductive choices, right, like we would have a really different world. And it's not a world I want to live in where everybody has to be like, this is why I wanted to have a child or fall in love or like transition or whatever.
Wow.
So I've just decided there's a category of illogic that is permitted.
Oh, I love that.
I love
That is
Thank
actually
you.
so helpful and interesting to think about.
Yeah, because transitioning
I love
also
that.
makes no fucking sense. Why ruin your fucking life?
I'm going to try and do something here, which is like talk about kind of maybe academic-ish ideas in like a really chill and normal way. And we're going to see how it goes.
Cool.
Because I feel like this actually ties in perfectly. You just came out with an article in Differences Journal a few months ago, right? Very exciting.
Yeah.
And I feel like you actually bring up this really interesting idea about how, you know, our culture likes to package transness into like this easy before and after that can be like easily narrated. And like there's a certain part of like logic with that too, I think, right? Like I did this because of this and now I am here and that is what's happening. But in this article, you highlight how like, you know, before, amidst, and after transition, we all, as trans people, like, contain multiple selves and, like, parts of ourselves that are unknowable, even to ourselves, that can't really be, like, narrated in this, like, you know, like, kind of, I guess I'm thinking about, like, things that kind of escape language, like you just kind of described. I, like, really love this idea. And I'm like, I wonder if you could maybe just talk a little more about it. I know that's, like, very open-ended, but I love the article, so.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I mean, I gave a talk about that article recently, and I was like, oh, this whole article, like, I thought it was about trans theory, but I reread it after my kid was born, and it's just about being pregnant. It's just about, like, this, like, freaky experience that you can be more than one person at the same time, that there's things that you don't know about what's going on inside of you that are still important.
Wow.
That you can get information from your body.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I was getting. I'm like, wait, that's like the unknowable thing. Yeah, totally.
Yes, right. And like that whole time I was writing that, like I wrote the first draft of that article in a cafe and I was eating like the biggest piece of cake you've ever seen. Right. And it was like because my baby wanted cake. And like I was revising the essay and my baby wanted to eat Big Macs. And it was like the whole time I was writing this whole thing about like, oh, there's like things that are unknowable about ourselves. And it's all about like epistemology or like fucking like theories of like subjectivity. I was like, it's because my baby is telling me to eat cheeseburgers and pizza and ice cream. And also like, I thought I was lactose intolerant, but it turns out my baby isn't. So I could eat ice cream and not fart the whole time I was pregnant. Why?
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God.
Then she turned out to have a major dairy allergy. Why is that possible? I don't know.
Right.
Like, a lot of things were happening to my body that did not make sense to me, but I couldn't write about it directly. And it also is true. Like, I feel like my argument is based on a sort of like grounded articulation of theory. Like I'm not just like saying I'm pregnant so I know this. Like I'm reading the theory, but I'm reading it in a pointed way such that like my like close readings of other people's theory happens to be like what matches what I feel in my body. That is that some shit's freaky and I don't know myself very well right now. And I'm discovering things.
And yourself is constantly changing.
Constantly changing and multiple. And like I'm not like second trimester me was like freaky and horny, and third trimester me was like, do not touch me, my feet feel bad. So like it's like a totally different person like between like August and September, right? And so like I don't know, I just wrote about this again actually. I think this is going to be what I write about over and over and over again until I really get it out. But like a lot of things about transness is just this like constant explanation that cis people do not have to do.
Yes.
And it feels very irritating to me that there is any portion of my brain that is spent asking, well, why are you like that? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, men don't have to explain why they like football. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, cisgender men are not like, well, I've always felt like a rock climber instead of a cross-country skier. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, my relationship to, like, shooting testosterone into my thigh is not that much more complicated than, like, desiring rock climbing over skiing. Like, it just is not at the end of the day. And, like, it is more of a problem for you. It's not necessarily more of a problem for me. And so the sort of, like, mismatch between, like, the culture thinks it's a mountain to overcome or, like, this complex like maze to navigate. And I'm like, you built the fucking maze. Why do I have to spend my time making a map of the maze? I could just go around it. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
I think that, like, the mandate that I waste my time telling you why I am the way that I am is boring and annoying to me. And it's not grounded in theory. It's not grounded in anything but politics. And that politics is one I want to reject entirely. So, yeah, in that article and an earlier article about transsexualism and chronicness, right? This little piece I just wrote, like, I'm just constantly writing, like, I don't want to explain myself to you. I don't want to do a close reading of a film to explain why gender is so cool and interesting. I just don't think that gives anybody but my enemies information. Because my enemies are the people who want to say, this is valid, this is not valid. Like, no one who is on my team should give a shit why anyone is trans.
Yes.
So why should I spend my time talking to my enemies who hate me anyway, for whom there is no sufficient answer to that question?
Right.
They, like, hate Michelle Obama for being trans. Like, they think Michelle Obama is trans, right? Because they are racist and they are sexist and they are transphobic. So what the fuck is the point of me saying, oh no, Michelle Obama is not trans? There isn't one. There's nothing I can say, right? And so, like, if they are, like, hating, like, canonically cisgender women, right? Like, epically the most famous cisgender women that there are. For being hypothetically trans, then, like, why should they listen to me? They're not gonna. So what's the fucking point?
Do you feel like instead, though, like, you're interested, because I liked how you used your own personal narrative, like, in the article. And so it's like, do you think you're interested in, like, talking about, like, what it means to kind of, like, inhabit and be, like, in a body that is, like, maybe responding to, like, this outside culture?
I
like,
think that it would be better if there was not cultural pressure to be the same thing, like, 1 year to the next, actually. Like, in a very radical way. I think that it would be very interesting if you could be like, yeah, I was a professor and a boy, and now I want to be an artist and a girl, and that was, like, kind of an all right thing. And why isn't it all right? Like, what are the actual reasons why? Is it that I need to have a social security number? Is it that I need to have a paycheck? Is it that I need to have an address? Like, what are the things that keep us rooted in being one person at a time? Most of those things, that seems to me, are institutions of capital, institutions of surveillance, institutions of exchange, institutions of family, like, things that, like, don't necessarily serve our flourishing and growth as human beings. Like, if I'm still a nice person and take care of my kids, if I don't, like, leave my kid on the sidewalk when I go become a girl artist, then, like, who gives a shit? And so I think that, like, it's worth asking, what are the forces that make it so it's hard to change your life?
Yes. And interrogate those, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I will give you another thought experiment, which I came up with, like, on the fly with some undergrads the other day. But, like, imagine a situation, which I think is actually scientifically possible, where everybody gets puberty blockers when they're 11 as a matter of course, in the same way that, like, a lot of people could take birth control, right?
Right.
Or have a vasectomy or get, an IUD and then turn that off in order to start reproduction, right? Where reproduction is something you opt into. You could also have a situation where puberty blockers are ceasing to have, like, not having puberty is the norm, and puberty is something you opt into when you're ready. That's scientifically possible, right? Like, the risk of puberty blockers are not so high that we couldn't do that. Okay, everybody gets an injection of fucking whatever it is when they're 10. And when you're ready, when you want to get taller or you want to grow boobs or whatever, you say,
Wow.
okay, Dad, I'm ready, right? Like, if that were the case, what would change about our society? It's not me advocating every child should be injected with medicine, like, you know, but it is just like extremely technologically and medically reasonable to ask, why don't we have more control over puberty, or why we don't have more control over reproduction? Who benefits and who is served by those things being compulsory? And like, we can see from the fight just for simple birth control that people do not want people to have control over these basic functions of our lives and our bodies. And so asking the question, like, why is it that you have to opt out of reproduction rather than opt into reproduction, depending on your like class status, basically, is a good question. So I guess by analogy, I'm trying to say something like, why is it that I have to fight constantly to do something like change my name?
Right.
Why is it that I have to like fight constantly to put a fucking gender marker on a fucking driver's license? Who gives a shit?
Who
right?
cares?
Who cares?
And why are they like? Why do they care? And why are they invested? And like, what does that tell us? Yeah.
Totally. Exactly. So I just think it should be really easy. I should change my name tomorrow, and it should be nobody's fucking problem.
No, that's literally so true. Like, when you break it down like that, it's like, yeah, I could change my name every day of the week. And like, why does that matter to you?
Why does that matter to you? Like, it would be inconvenient and annoying, but we don't legislate most inconvenient and annoying shit. It's inconvenient and fucking annoying that car alarms exist. I don't like to hear them. We don't legislate around that, right? Like, so much shit is inconvenient and annoying socially. It's inconvenient and annoying when men are loud, right? So like, I don't know. I think that a lot of the arguments like that limit our freedom are not good arguments because they're not arguments. They're actually just like, you know, conveniences of capital.
Yes.
Ways to make things more frictionless for redistributing resources in the direction we want them to be redistributed. And I don't believe in those directions. So why should I believe in those justifications for like me being constrained? This is not, by the way, a libertarian sovereign citizen argument, but I do understand why there's overlaps. I think we should live in communities rather than like on our own with our guns. But I don't know, like, when my fucking kid goes to roller derby, the kids change their roller derby names every fucking minute because they're all like trans autistic weirdos. And they're like, that name from last season doesn't suit me. And everyone just calls them whatever weird fucking pun they want to be this season. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So like, again, like, is all society scalable to roller derby? No. Are there things we can do to ask, why do I have to continue to be like this? Why do you have to follow my name from one credit report to the next? Why do we have a legal name? Why do we have a legal gender?
Right.
Who gives a fuck? And so, like, by extension, there's a lot of sort of assumptions about ourselves being these sort of unitary people that are actually, I think, propped up by these institutions. Rather than, like, if we really interrogated ourselves, am I the same as at 13?
Of course not.
In some ways, yeah, and sometimes no, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
Are you the same as when you were a baby? And sometimes yes, and sometimes no. And like, that is fucking fine. We accept that in terms of like our everyday lives. But then when it comes to like, oh no, but what if my like genitals are a little bit different shaped? We're like, wait, that's the problem. And I think that's arbitrary. I don't think there's a good argument for that.
I love that. I feel like you're really like rebelling against like a compression of the trans narrative, or just like this kind of like linear way that we have to like justify the choice we made to transition. And I think that that's really cool.
Yeah. Like, the choice I made of where to go to college, which I think I chose wrong, actually, in many ways, is more consequential in some areas of my life than my gender.
Yeah, you're like, it's actually not that deep, I think is kind of like your takeaway.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually not that
It's actually not that deep. Right.
Yeah.
And like, we have so much philosophy about like, why am I the way that I am? Right. And for some reason, trans people are supposed to know the fucking answer that like every single like fucking European asshole in 1600 spent their whole lives trying to discover. Like no. Like,
yeah. Well, I think it goes against the grain of like, we're essentially saying you are so much more free than you imagine.
Yeah.
And that doesn't necessarily work with this kind of like cog-filled running government system. Like, they're just like, we don't want to spend time on you changing your name, and like they're just like, we don't have the infrastructure for freedom in that way. In this, like, ironically, America is so freedom obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, and indeed, like, why can't I change my legal name? Because they think I might be avoiding my debts, right? Or they think I might be, I mean, this is the stated reason. In many states, and this is still true, in many sort of localities, you have to publish in some sort of public forum an announcement of your name change. And the reason why is that so if you owe someone money,
they can track you down.
They can track you down.
Wow.
Or if there's an outstanding warrant for your arrest, right? If you're evading criminalization or if you're evading debt. And so do I believe that a debt society is good? No. Do I believe a police state is good? No. So therefore, should I believe that we have to ask the state to go by a different name? No.
Yeah.
And that's
totally.
it. It's not just about the sort of affirmative freedom to like be whoever I want to be, like in a sort of individualist sense. It's not just like, wow, I'm so important, I want to be my whole self. Because that shit can lead to fascism real quick, right? Like, I want the freedom to do whatever I want because I'm important. That's not my argument.
That's the decline of like a very rich society, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Like, my argument is more that some of the reasons why our freedom is constrained are good. I shouldn't be able to like shoot my neighbor, right? Some of the reasons why our freedom is constrained are bad. And some of those reasons are so that we can constantly be in debt.
Yes.
And I don't think that's a good reason. And so if that's really...
And always work.
And always work.
Yeah.
And if that's why we fucking can't change our name without asking, you know, Daddy Commonwealth, then like, I don't want to be part of that.
Oh, you're so smarty. That's like my reaction to that. I'm like, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so crazy. I don't know. I mean, I also think like I'm like really just vibing off of like a lot of other theorists when I say that. I think that like insofar as I'm good at anything, I think I'm good at making complicated things seem obvious. And I think this is an instance where like a lot of theorists have said this in a lot of more complicated ways. But actually all you have to say is, but why though?
Right. Right.
But how come?
Exactly.
That's awesome. Gender Spiral is an original podcast from Audiation. This episode was mixed by Matt Noble. Theme music is composed by Chanel Kirchlow, remixed by Daria Lord. Additional music by Command Jasmine, courtesy of Molten Heart, with art by Joey Hahn and graphics by Michael Tyrone Delaney.
The show is executive produced by Ireland Meacham, myself, Babette Thomas, and my co-host Ali Beardsley, along with Sandy Smullins, with some additional story editing from Susie Armitage.
If you want to help us out, you can rate or review us wherever you're listening to us right now, and follow us on Instagram at Gender Spiral to get notified about new episodes.
And be sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Gender Spiral Podcast. For $2 a month, you can listen to the entire back catalog of Gender Spiral episodes ad-free. Plus, you can get access to our Discord community. Higher tiers will get you exclusive bonus content, plus gifts from us like these cute little monthly postcards and free merch.
You can also check us out at genderspiralpod.com, where you'll find transcripts for each episode and a link to leave us a voicemail. And you can shop our merch store.
Audiation.